get deep involved and find out what their concerns are, what their fears are, and what they need from SOBI as well as GATQ, NODA, and the other nonprofit organizations in the world. So what we did was we met in Chicago in July, and we had two different rooms going at the same time. The patient's room was 4 young adults ranging ages from 17 to 22 years old. The caregiver room was mainly mommies and daddies of patients of younger children, and there were 7 of them in there. We wanted to see what was their main concerns, and we've broken it down to the consensus. It's no surprise that adherence to diet and formula presents the biggest challenge. The low protein diet is a lot of work. It's no surprise, we all know, we all live it. But we're confirming that the formula, the unpalatable taste and preparation time for the formula is a nuisance to everybody, and it's hard to manage. Orphan and adherence seems to be very good. There are a couple anomalies. People were telling stories about how they didn't take it for a little while. They ended up very sick. They learned the hard way. That seemed to be very prevalent. That the young adults need to each learn that the hard way, unfortunately. But they saw the consequences. They got bit by the fire. They got right back on the regimen, and they're all doing well now. And of course, at school and their social events, meals are always very difficult. They all have a common concern of getting greater access to specialists. This is very important. As children, we have children's hospitals around the world that have metabolic clinicians that can take care of tyrosine. But as adults, there's not a lot of knowledge. They know the theory of what tyrosinemia is, but when they come and say, I have crystals in my eyes, I need help, they have no clue what to do. So they refer them to a children's hospital who will not see them because they're 20 and 22 years old, and then they refer them back, and next thing you know, they're falling through the cracks and they're not getting the care that they need. So that's a major concern, at least for American patients. Also, primary care physicians, they don't know much about it. So there's a lack of education going on there, and as the years develop and our patients get a little older, I think we'll see more and more of that. But, that's one of our goals we want to work on. Patient concerns around family and career decisions. We have, for example, one of our patients that we had wanted to pursue a career in filmography. He wanted to be a videographer, but it's a lot of freelance work. And in America, you have to buy your own insurance if you're going to be a freelance worker, and so he may not be able to do that because he needs good insurance to afford NTPC and or afford the low protein foods and the things that he needs. So there's a consensus that they really feel like prisoners, to their disease. And of course, lastly, family concerns. They have fears about having children with HD1, which is no surprise. But some of the big quotes of that meeting were, I don't want my kids to go through what I went through growing up with HD1. And of course, the big one, I don't want the disease to define me as a person. So in the caregiver room, very different, very emotional. This was the first time that these mothers and fathers had had time to really interact and speak, because geographically they're spread from all across the country. They had never met another family with tyrosinemia, let alone put 7 of them together. These people had all known each other through NODA and had communicated online, but had never actually met, hugged, and just said hi. Very important. So the biggest concern that they had was moms do not trust anybody with their children as far as diet and adherence. They felt they could not put their children in any kind of overnight things like a camp or anything. Overnight stays at friends' houses, even if you give them medicine, you give them the formula and say, okay, this is all you have to do. It's just easier not to do it, and it ends up in isolation for the child. And then, when they go to school, the teachers don't know anything about it, and we really need some kind of pamphlet, some kind of basic literature that's oriented towards our children's professionals. That's something we want to work out. And of course, they felt like they were flying blind, which I already touched upon. There's nobody there to support them, but of course, there's a lack of accurate, reliable information on potential reactions to vaccinations and common over-the-counter remedies. We find ourselves calling the dietitians every time we want to give the child Tylenol or something like that, and there's no real home base or infrastructure on how on what's good with that. And as we've learned through the conference, there's an inconsistent information on proper execution of blood monitoring. Is it to be done at home? Is it to be done in the clinic? What are the levels it's supposed to be? Where are we at? Basic information that, as we communicate, we're finding our hospitals are all having massive discrepancies on. And of course, travel's a logistical nightmare. We all know about that, traveling to here. And they really do want their children to be very happy and thrive, but they don't know that that's going to happen. They have real fears for that. The big quote here is, why is it that we have to take all the risks? Common challenges where a lack of reliable information and support, and of course the insurance coverage challenges, the cost of NTBC. So in conclusion, Sobi has taken on some responsibility to make the revitalizingorphanin.com and the revitalizing, they're making pamphlets and things of that nature. NODA has developed nodacares.org, which is an informational space where families can go, and it just lets them know that everything's going to be okay. Of course, and then we have a Facebook group that has 330 members from around the world, representing 57 patients, and they can just speak and talk about how we're going to Saguenay and how and they look at the menus, and we're here, and we can share experiences, not as medical professionals, but as families. Thank you.
Do you intend to speak with a group of diversity and Emory?
I have already.
You have already
Yes.
speak with the guys from Emory. You have already Emory speak.
Emory too?
Yes, we've spoken, and we're going to collaborate. I'm going to get them onto our website. On the website, we have links to NODA. Oh, that's the Facebook group. I'm sorry. We have links to all the different, relevant companies and whatnot. We're going to get them on there too. And yeah, I've spoken to them, and basically everybody who would listen to me.
No, because it seems to me that if you could all get together to get one, just imagine one application that says there's a network, there's a global network.
Yes.
There's an India, and here's the diet, here's the communication.
That's exactly what we're working for.
Okay.
Because I think that as you know, together we stand.
That's
divided we fall.
That's what it says. NODA is the Network of Tyrosine Advocates, and it says, not a problem, we've got each other. And it says right there, we are weak as one, but together we are strong. And that's the message we have to get across to these new diagnoses. Because people, when my son was diagnosed, we felt very alone. There was no support, there was no structure, there was nothing for us. And we were scared out of our minds. And that is what my fuel is. I will not allow a family to ever feel the way that we felt. And I know that you guys know what that feels like.
We feel 35 years ago.
Yes.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.